Okay, well, let's get started. The first thing that I want to talk to you about are what the basic increments of measurement are in a scale. I'm not a big fan of scales, and I'm not going to suggest that you go out and practice 1,000 scales 1,000 times, but it's important to understand that scales and chords are related, so you need to know what they are. So if we find middle C on the piano, which is right here for me, okay, we're going to go in the key of C here because it's a nice friendly place to start, no sharps and flats. So the scale, the major scale for C is C, D, E, F, G, A, B, then we're back to C. So we have those 7 notes. Now, within a scale, you'll notice those are the notes that we're playing, but between here and here, this octave, I imagine they call it octave because there's 8 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 octagon, you know. Woo! Now we learn something every day, right? So in this octave, there are those 7 notes, but there's also these black notes, the sharps and flats. So all told, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then we're back to the same note, just an octave higher. So we have 12 basic notes that we can work with in any scale, and no matter what key signature we're in. Now the reason that that's important is that we have a unit of measurement called a half step and another called a whole step, okay? And what a half step is find any note on the piano, but we'll start with middle C. A half step is exactly 1 key above or below it, okay? The nearest. So in this case, if we go up, it's a C sharp or a D flat, whatever you want to call it. And if we go down, it's a B natural. See, there's nothing in between those notes. That is a half step, and it wouldn't matter if you were on an F sharp, where the half step up 1 is here, and a half step below is here. Sorry, I just really like the way that sounds. But anyway, that's an important concept to understand. That is a half step, and that is constant all the way across the old piano keyboard. Anywhere you start, exactly 1 note above is a half step, exactly 1 note below is a half step. A whole step, if you can believe it, these are really, really creative terms. A whole step is 2 half steps. Okay? So with that logic in play, if we're on middle C, and a half step goes to either the C sharp or D flat, whatever you want to call it, then a whole step up would be 2 of those, which is 1, 2. So your whole step is from C to D, as in dog. Or down, if the half step was to B, then the whole step would be to B flat. From C, half step, half step. B flat is your whole step, or A sharp. I would never call it A sharp myself. I don't really like sharps, but I don't know why that is. But you can call it whatever you want. I'm not here to dictate that kind of nonsense. This note right here. So there's your half step and whole step. Why am I going on and on about half steps and whole steps? Because we're going to talk about intervals, and intervals is a fancy sort of music education term for the space between 2 notes. And you can find an interval from any note on the piano to the right note for it by knowing how many half steps and whole steps there are. So it's kind of like if somebody says, you know, measure me out 4 feet, and you don't have a ruler on you, or maybe you don't have whatever. You could have a ruler, but the point is, you could definitely, if you have some way to know what the inches are, you know, if you've got a unit of measurement for inches, then you can count up 48 inches. It's just basically that same kind of thing. Or get me 4.5 feet. Well, you know that it's 48 inches plus another 6 inches because you know there's 12 inches in a foot. Same exact thing. And for my international clients, let me rephrase that. 4.5 meters, well, you know that there's 100 centimeters in a meter, and so you got 400 centimeters and then 50 centimeters, right? So, sorry, I want to pay homage to the folks out there that are on the metric system because I sell these things all over the world. And for what it's worth, I think that it would be a lot smarter if America joined the metric system like the rest of the world, but I highly doubt that we will. So, don't hold your breath on that. Anyway, but that's half steps and whole steps. So, now that we've talked about what a half step and a whole step is, I'm going to walk you through all the different intervals that are available for you, and then you'll see how that plays into forming chord symbols. All right?